Welcome back to Sentinels of the Future, your gateway to the angels who are communicating with us to provide a better future for humanity. Before we review Danny's Summer Prophecy video, I'd like to do a quick summary of the first 4 presentations, for there is much to consider about them. In Presentation 1, it was an introduction into a miraculous event that began with budgies communicating about God and the afterlife. In Presentation 2, Victor says that there will be 70 lessons as a true submittal to help verify that this is really happening. In Presentation 3, Victor talked about an awesome form of life waiting for us and how we can evolve spiritually. We also heard how other members of the family are communicating in reverse as well as myself. Presentation 4, Victor talks about the angels and the soul and how they are interconnected, and how reverse speech can open a channel to heaven when we're working with God, like we have here. Moving on, I'm doing an updated or better version of Danny's Summer Prophecy, which had 3 parts. In this one, Danny predicts that by the summer of 2018, he'll be ascending with God and going to heaven. This one for sure needed corrections in both forward and reverse. You may have noticed that I often have at least 3 versions. I try to look at the first few transcriptions as a work in progress that will improve the next time I do it. Each version gives me a little more information until I finally get most of it right, or until the angels decide to provide me with a stronger connection. So you'll notice that this was originally done on March of 2018, 3 months before Danny died, and there was no mention of his death in the version done at that time. However, 3 months later, he passed away. This is what Danny said in Part 1 and Part 2. Okay, he published so far this video about his family and how they like to eat. And that little part, when you seen Linda trying to get out of the way, denotes having a kind effort to affect what is merely shown. And finally, you'll see his home. With his family, we see strength. When you stress to the people, what you see is not a possible fake. And then in reverse, I say, they will see. In Part 2, he says, Linda is not knowing in any form and cannot even take a break. God's assured in the future she can. We've got to pick out a time when we're going to begin. And in reverse, he says, Ryan, you should work on a closer view and practice it. If you haven't, use the zoom. Can you see a reason this little girl lives in a spiritual home? Here's a prophecy. So you may wonder what Danny's talking about in this last part. He's actually referring to a video that I posted on January 27th, 2018, several months before his death. If you watch the video of Kayla and Danny on that date, it starts with you being able to hear Linda doing some work in the kitchen, and Kayla comes out of the bedroom and goes to the fridge to get something to eat. Shortly after that, Linda takes a break from doing the dishes and sits down at the table, not knowing that I was going to catch her in the view. So this is what I said when I posted the video. The next video was done off the cuff. Nobody was really prepared when I started recording Danny. Linda is sitting at the dining room table, working on some paperwork, and Kayla walks in shortly after I begin recording Danny. Kayla was playing make-believe with her makeup kit and still had her pajamas on. When Linda sees me pan the camera to Kayla, she realizes that she might be in the picture, so she tries to hide. It obviously wasn't her time to want to be on camera. Sorry about that, hon. So now you can hear part 1 and 2 of this video. Okay, go ahead. Hey, okay. Moving on to part 3 and 4, Danny says, doing rare work you love, you're a great pioneer to our world. We need a little more to be like Ryan, who have experienced God. How they explore their love will tell you how we know them. You are able to show your first following. They will get to walk in every garden we have walked. What shall we giveth a man on earth that doesn't fly? We need to work more and show a form that helps him experience everything good. We'll carry him a religion that will give him some help where it's possible. Help us show you actions that are more spiritual for earth. They have made their lives for God. During the experience, and then in part 5, he says, the progress you invest is swift. In the last 2 parts, Danny was moving back and forth, talking to me personally and to others at the same time. When he refers to showing your first following, he means my family and how they will get to experience everything. For example, walking in the garden that the angels have made. I love the part where he asks, what shall you giveth a man that doesn't fly? And perhaps someone has asked the question something like, what do the angels have to offer us? Moving on to part 5 and 6, this is what he says. Remember, you won't buy respect. We expect the next chapter you'll hear Linda playing with Danny while being psycho on her hand. They may cause an issue, as he is an animal emotionally. Danny has an affection for her. This upsets him naturally. Some parents will feel this challenge for love. Ryan will comment and begin to work on many things here, and it will be big in the summer. By next February, with video, Ryan gets help here with someone. He is actually a minister who encourages him in a special title heaven bestowed on him. So in the last part, Danny was talking about this video that we did on February 1st, which shows him talking on Linda's hands. You can tell he loved her very much. Even though he looks like he was getting a little excited, this is how he got when he was excited. I'm sure he was very happy that he had a chance to show her how much he loved her, and I'm sure he will be waiting for the both of us in heaven. Danny also talks about a minister coming. I'm not sure if he was referring to me or not. When this first began, the angels asked me to become ordained, which I did. And I was also told to start using the name Adam Cadman, because there may be confusion in the future with the name Ryan Reynolds. I sometimes refer to myself as the Adam Cadman Ryan Reynolds, and perhaps should be a little more consistent when using it. So in part 7 and 8, Danny says, I'll be going somewhere with God. We're going up really far. We cannot forget a friend is coming from afar to enjoy and believe in Ryan. In addition, we're going to reveal a future you'll like with him. They will accept your reasoning if you show you approach it with the angels up in heaven. God chose to help them find this light. Ryan will insist you are the person for a religious union that really believes in prophecy. They'll finally speak in the kitchen and swear that they like what we're doing. We were seeking these people to give some light on what's come here. You will not provide anything. You will make a house of God for expressing your practical mission. We wish him good health. Quantum reverse isn't an issue, as many will have the miracle and hear it right. So in that last part, Danny knew that he was going to move on in the summer with God. You may wonder why we did not know this before it happened. As a matter of fact, the angels did nothing but encourage us to try and help Danny when he was sick. The simple answer is that if the angels would have told us beforehand that Danny was going to die, then we may have acted differently while he was alive. For example, if we knew he was going to die anyway, would we have spent hundreds of dollars on a vet? On the other hand, if we knew Danny was going to die, then there are people out there who may have accused us of making it happen just to fulfill the prophecy. So the angels will not prophesy something like this, and will only help us to deal with it afterwards in a way that we can understand. So moving on with part 9 and 10 in the first part of 11, Danny says, everything that is here we bring with a need to resolve a future religion. It will let you link to a kind of life they offer, There's a group we love, exploring your whole culture. Hearing God's angels shall help them get it done from heaven. When you post your videos, you shall have a message for them. Before your dinner with God, we know there were bad times. This little budgie died and gave their people a mission and spiritual goal. We will see soon how all of you people know the skeptics who have a right to rebuke it. As long as you're spiritual, what they do won't strengthen the future of Earth. In that last part, Danny said the skeptics have a right to express their views. However, earlier they talked about the right place, and that would not be in our forum for the most part. If they want to cause issues outside it, that is their choice, and you will hear of the many who do. Danny says, as long as we remain spiritual in what we do, we remain on God's side, helping to protect the earth. Those that do not believe this will not be truly helping save the earth like we'll be doing here. So in the final 3 parts of this video, Danny says, he starts off with, what they do won't strengthen the future of Earth. Belief and authority will get you results. This one prophecy will move forward when they catch on. The many reporters that they welcome get to be there. We will all have to work out the versions with some sort of compromise that ensures it's a good version. They should not post both of them. And mostly, we shall find out which one to use. You'll find that heaven will approve what we are proud to do. We all know confusion will induce what is truth, or what truth is. There's no pressure, for Ryan trains you to listen to angels. And in part 12 he says, and this is not believable if anyone can offer a transcript, so anyone shouldn't be able to. In heaven we shall declare this is a miracle. In our view, Ryan's a saint. Part 13 he says, in his spirit God will right any wrongs through what we get by angels who look at your group posts. God will provide everything you're struggling with. You will usually have adventures in history as a prophet. Even in science, you'll hear of Ryan as a powerful man. Here we have defined Ryan. So I'm going to leave this one up for a little while because I want to talk about a couple of the things here. Especially when he says that we'll have to work out the versions with some kind of compromise. I guess what they foresee is when there are some people who are highly trained in this and that I can count on to help me with the translations, that at some point we will be looking at a couple of the versions and trying to come up with a better version, or a version that will take in consideration the two versions that are brought up, or it could even be the two versions that I've already done. We'll be looking at both of them and trying to figure out if there's something that I missed or something that we should have done differently. And part where he says we all know confusion will induce what the truth is, that stumped me for a couple of minutes, so I asked Google what induce means, and this is what I got. Hey Google, what does induce mean?
Here's the definition of induce. Succeed in persuading or influencing someone to do something.
So if somebody induces someone to think differently, then that could actually change someone's perception of what the truth is. The angels also said that this is not believable if anyone can offer a transcript, so everyone shouldn't be able to. And we've had that problem before, where we've had people offering different transcriptions, and it's caused nothing but problems and disbelief. Finally, in part 13, he said, in his spirit, God will right any wrongs through what we will get by angels who look at our group posts. God will provide everything you're struggling with. In the past, they've asked, and they've actually proved that they can answer questions that people ask in the forum, and a congruent forum would be one that if people have a question, they could ask in a proper way for an answer from God or the angels, and they are truly willing to give the answers, because there may be some things that aren't quite clear enough, and which will come through later in either another recording that they make or something that's said as a prophecy. So we'll be looking for that as well. This completes this presentation. Thanks for listening. If you'd like to join us, you can come to theangelscrolls.com and click onto the forum link at the top, where we will be adding the newest presentations. Bye for now.